If you're like me, you have questions. I know, top of the list, question number one, question numero uno is, can a Dumble surf? And question number two is, why the heck does Ryan have a Dumble in the first place? Well, that question is fairly easy to answer, so let's get into that first, and then I'm going to demonstrate the functionality of this amplifier, and then we'll find out if it surfs or not. It does. It totally does. So anyways, why the heck do I have a Dumble? The easy answer is I don't. But I do have a steel string singer made by Grand, not made by Dumble, by Grand. Grand is a Chinese company that is making these reproductions, recreations, copies, clones, whatever word you want to use to describe this situation. That's what they're doing. And it was very, very, very generously gifted to me by friend of the show, Bendy, the guy behind the Wangs USA website and shop, where if you want to buy Wangs amps, you go over there. So apparently Grand, the company, is friends with Wangs. They're not the same company. They're not building for each other, but they're like buddies. We see that in American building circles, like brands that are buddies with each other. And so Bendy started talking to Grand, and it sounds like he's making moves to carry these things and sell them in the States. So he wanted to send one to me. Obviously, he wanted to see me film it. I wanted to spend time with it. I want to explore a Dumble style amplifier. I've always explored these little pedals that come in, like affordable pedals that claim to be Dumble style pedals, or even small builder pedals or boutique pedals that claim to be Dumble style pedals. I've always had this big question, like, what does that even mean? Who's even gotten to have hands-on experience with a Dumble style amplifier enough to generate a pedal that produces Dumble style tones? And from what I understand about Dumble amps in the first place is that they're all kind of one-offs. They're all custom made amps by Dumble for whatever client he was talking to. So how do you make a definitive Dumble style sound? Well, hopefully this thing will kind of give me a frame of reference. Hopefully it'll give me a base mark to judge things by. I have spent time with it. This is not an unboxing. And I will say, this is an impressive amplifier. And it's a clean machine. It does have some dirt, but this is a specialist in crafting and generating iconic and beautiful and dirty and thick and twangy and bright and brittle, clean guitar sounds. It really is a clean amp builder. It is not one sound. It is dozens and dozens and dozens of sounds with an incredible amount of control. It is honestly like the top tone shaping amp as far as clean channels go that I've ever experienced. It's pretty wild. And I will say that obviously I've never had personal experience. As far as I'm aware, I've never been in the same zip code as an actual Dumble. So maybe it doesn't even sound the same at all. And I'm definitely not using speakers that were picked by Dumble or represent the speakers that Dumble would use. But I can say that I am very impressed with this amplifier. So anyways, let's get into it. I could honestly sit here and just flap my gums for like an hour just talking about the experience I've been having with this amp, but it would be much better to play with it and show it off. A little bit about my recording rig. I've got a pair of Cascade Fathead ribbon mics down in front of the speakers, the same way I mic up the Princetons. The speaker cab is a unique situation. It is just about the ugliest, worst looking speaker cab you could imagine. It's an old crate 2x12 amplifier that Steve gutted and turned into a speaker cab probably 20 something years ago. I recently replaced the speakers in it because it had the original crate speakers and a big hole had torn in one of them. And I wanted to get louder and more efficient and just have better sound in general. So I have a really unique mix of speakers in here. I've got this Jensen neodymium thing that I picked up from Toma, and I'll try to find a link for that down in the description. And I've got an Eminent Swamp thing in there. So It's half light and half very thick and heavy. And when I combine those two speakers in post, I'm hoping to get a nice balance that represents what I was hearing in room. I've been playing around with this amp for a couple days now, and it sounds fantastic to me through these speakers. It's obviously going to sound different through any different set of speakers. This is a very unique set right here. I'll say that. So anyways, is it warmed up? All right, let's get started. I need to show you every single control that's on this amplifier because it just never stops. It's just piles and piles of tone shaping controls on this amplifier. It is honestly